will try and get across and split it there. So Anthony Addis, who was third in the pre-final and then had a problem in turn number 1 and retired. Not quite sure what the problem was. I couldn't hear the interview that Genway did and whether he revealed what the problem was. I'm sure it wasn't simply a lack of talent. Something went wrong, but whatever went wrong earlier has been fixed, so they head off on their rolling lap. Sten Dorian Pinimaji on the outside of the front row, the Estonian driver, 20 years old from Tallinn. Thierry Del Rey, 30 years old from Belgium in Kart 611, starts from pole. Then the 20-year-old Estonian Sten Dorian Pinimaji in Kart 637. 19-year-old Konstantin Scholl from Austria in Kart 603, starts third. And 35-year-old Finn Mikko Lane in Kart 613, starts fourth. And then the 37-year-old Greek driver John Antoniadis, he starts the number 616 kart from 5th place on the grid. And it's, well, at the moment you would say it's probably going to be a head-to-head scrap with Del Rey and Pinimaji. However, Antoniadis will be trying to get past his student, Joel, and up to the top 3, Mikko Lane, who finished the opening heat in 3rd place, but he's just, every heat, he's been, by the end of it, he's just been a second, 3 or 4 seconds off the pace after 12 laps, and this race is 15 laps. And again, Mikko Lane, you say, well, he's a world champion. You know, why is he struggling so much? Well, this is his first race in a 6-speed shifter kart with the X30 engine, and he's a world champion in a different class of kart. And these beasts, and they are beasts, they are extremely difficult to tame. As the field now come around turn number 11. Blue skies overhead. We have not seen a cloud for 3 days here in Belgium. A little bit of a breeze today, but still a lovely spring afternoon in Northern Europe. But that calm spring afternoon is about to be broken by the sound of 5 X30 super shifters who will roar into life very shortly. The grid marshal at the back gives the green flag. We're off and racing. Antoniadis starts out from behind Scholl to move into 4th place. Mikko Lane 3rd, but it is Thierry Del Rey who leads Sten Dorian Pinimaji around turn number 1. Oh, and Konstantin Scholl around the outside of his mentor to chase after Mikko Lane there, and Lane up into 3rd place. But already, oh, and Scholl dives at the inside of Lane, stuffs one up the inside of him going into turn number 5, parks on the apex. Good battling, but they're allowing the top 2 to break clear. Antoniadis now looks to the inside of Mikko Lane. Oh, Mikko Lane holds on to his line though, and Antoniadis has to back out of it. You can see up the straight towards turn number 9. Now will Antoniadis look to the inside? Yes, he does. Down through the gearbox. He gets to the apex, moves into P number 4. But he's got to chase after Konstantin Scholl now, and up at the front it's Thierry Del Rey and Sten Dorian Pinimaji trying to break clear. Del Rey leads, Pinimaji second. Just making an adjustment there to the radiator area of the engine of the car is Pinimaji. You can see he's using his right hand to change gear, so the gear lever is on the right, so they'll be changing gear with their right hand, using the hand clutch with their left. Down to the gears into turn number 5. Turning in, using just one hand to turn this 120 km/h machine, revving to well over 10,000 RPM. Ear splitting sound. Substantial G-forces in the corners, no suspension. They're getting beaten up in the seat of these drivers. If you do not wear a rib protector in one of these karts, you will, not if, you will end each and every race with ribs that are decidedly second hand. Let's just say that. You'll also end up with very few neck muscles left. Such are the G-forces that these drivers have to go through. There's Del Rey down through the gears, turning sharp right, braking, hitting the apex. Pittamaji in his wheel tracks. Closing in, 0.2 of a second behind. Less than that, just about a kart length. Now, can Stendoria and Pittamaji dart out to pass the race leader at the end of this straight? Shoal and Antoniadis in third. Up in the front, Pittamaji goes for the move, takes the lead into the button complex. Stendoria and Pittamaji passes Thierry Del Rey. Now, can he hold him off? This is only lap 3 out of 15. A long, long way to go. Shoal and Antoniadis, their tyre conservation tactics in the first race seem to be working because they're actually closing in. Last time around, they were quicker than the two leaders. Antoniadis on another very quick lap. It's going to be helped by the fact that the leaders swap places. It's Pittamaji, Del Rey, Shoal, Antoniadis, the top four. Flash through the screen. The gap, 0.8 of a second, separating second from third. Nico Lane just 2 seconds back in 5th position, 2 seconds behind Antoniadis. Down the back straight they go. Still, Pittamaji leads. But for how much longer? Del Rey will be studying the kart in front of him. He'll be looking to see where Pittamaji may be braking a little bit earlier than Thierry Del Rey is. That will then be a potential opportunity. Where is Pittamaji better than Del Rey? He'll also be looking, because he wants to make sure that if he makes a move, he makes it at an area of the circuit that he is not then susceptible to be repassed straight away. Antoniadis following Konstantin Scholl through. Scholl able to stay with the two leaders sort of at the moment, but if Antoniadis finds that Scholl is beginning to hold him up, you will see the driver of the black crash helmet, number 616, make a move on his protege. Not this lap though, as you run lap number 5 of 15. So we are 1/3 of the way through this X30 Super Shifter final, through turn number 8, and you can see Pittamaji, he is hugging the inside line going into turn number 8 to prevent a potential move from Del Rey. Into turn number 11. Nobody makes a move on this lap. Pittamaji takes a slightly wider line into turn number 11. Gives him a slightly better run onto the main straight. The slipstream effect still very useful in this kart, as Del Rey has a little nibble up the inside of Pittamaji, but Pittamaji then has the inside line for turn number 2 and turn 3, the double apex left-hander. So Del Rey knows that there's no chance of a move there. But it's worth just getting alongside. There goes the move. Del Rey returns the favour at turn number 6. That is where Pittamaji took the lead a few laps ago. Del Rey follows for a couple of laps and takes the lead back. That move. Look at Shoal and Antoniadis getting closer and closer. Inching up. The gap was 0.8 of a second. It's now just half a second. Can Antoniadis pass Shoal and close the gap even more? There's your new race leader, Thierry Del Rey, into turn number 1. Pittamaji sitting in his wheel track. Shoal has driven very well so far, but as we've seen this weekend, that Shoal's been very, very quick in the first few laps, but then his lack of experience at this particular class of kart begins to show in the occasional misshift, the occasional missed apex begins to creep in. He's got to hook up 15 consistent, fast, inch-perfect laps. And he's got the advantage. Well, he knows that Antoniadis isn't going to try something rash that will take them both out, but he knows he can't relax either. Antoniadis will be watching the two drivers in front. Del Rey beginning to inch away, and Antoniadis sees that and thinks, okay, now it's time for pupil to follow teacher, because he can see that Del Rey is not under any more pressure, and Del Rey could be pulling away from Pittamaji. Antoniadis needs to go, and he needs to go now to try and close in on Pittamaji. Has Pittamaji got any fight left in him? We're into the second half of this race now, running lap 8 of 15. Nico Lane in kart number 613 is just about 4 seconds behind the top 4. There's Del Rey, Pirimagi. Maybe he's just giving his tyres a rest for a lap or two, but he's certainly dropped back by 3 or 4 kart lengths. Will we see the Estonian driver now close back in as we complete lap number 8 and move on to lap 9 out of 15? Antoniadis already leaving Scholl behind, and Konstantin Scholl has got to try and follow the lines of the number 616 kart and not drift off, because suddenly if you drift back too much you'll find yourself all on your own, and it's harder to keep that momentum up if you've got nobody to gauge your pace at. Into turn number 6, Antoniadis with the new fastest lap, 52.856 seconds. And Antoniadis is closing in on Stentorian Pirimagi. He's just 0.4 of a second behind. And you can see Antoniadis a much better turn in to turn number 9. Pirimagi understeered ever so slightly. Antoniadis can turn and get that number 616 kart pointed at the apex a little bit better than Pirimagi. So maybe the front tyres on Pirimagi's kart beginning to give up a little and beginning to develop a little bit of understeer, and that is why he can't quite keep the pressure on Del Rey. So that Mach 1 chassis, German built, Belgian driven, leads in Belgium from Pirimagi on the CRG kart for the AIX racing team. Then the Tony kart of John Antoniadis, who is now closer to Pirimagi than Pirimagi is to Del Rey. And once again, Pirimagi losing a kart length or two through turn number 9. It does seem as though under braking, when you've got to brake for one of the heavier braking zones, Pirimagi's kart beginning to understeer, and he's now susceptible to a move from Antoniadis. Is the move coming into turn number 1? Not this lap. We're on lap number 11 out of 15. Antoniadis cannot afford to hang about. If he's going to make the move, he's got to make it soon, and he's got to make it cleanly, and he's got to make sure that Pirimagi can't fight straight back, because he doesn't want to get embroiled in a scrap, because he's got no time to catch Del Rey if Del Rey extends his advantage to any more than it is now. It's 0.6 of a second as things stand. Antoniadis is the fastest kart on the circuit, but he has not got track position. He needs to get past Pirimagi if he's going to mount a challenge on Thierry Del Rey. Del Rey, don't forget, a 2 times, a double IAMI world champion. Into turn number 1 on lap 12 out of 15. Now through turn 5, heavy braking zone. Turn number 5, they go. Pirimagi looking over his shoulder there, just glancing into his peripheral vision. He knows he's under pressure. Scholl still runs 4th. Lane is 5th. There's Antoniadis. Oh, he gets the inside. Pirimagi understeers as he's been doing, and the fact that Antoniadis' kart is handling better at this stage of proceedings shows there, because accelerating and turning at the same time, Antoniadis was able to get to the apex, and now we'll complete lap 12. Let's check the gap between Del Rey and Antoniadis. They start lap 13 out of 15, and the gap between first and second is 0.93 of a second. What can 37-year-old John Antoniadis do about double IAMI world champion Thierry Del Rey? He has got 2 and a bit laps to close a near 1 second gap and then make a move. Del Rey looks unflappable, is he? Can Antoniadis? He's already put half a dozen kart lengths between himself and Stentorian Pirimagi, but can he close in through sector number 1? Well, it's almost as if Thierry Del Rey knew that Antoniadis was making his move, because suddenly Del Rey puts in a purple first sector, fastest first sector of the entire race for Del Rey. Antoniadis responds with a very good middle sector at the end of the lap. It is a 52.806 for Del Rey. That is a new fastest lap, and it's a 10th quicker than Antoniadis. 2 laps to go. This is lap 14 out of 15. This is where the tyres are at their worst. This is where the drivers are at their worst in terms of energy levels. They've been beaten and battered about these seats for 14 laps, 13 laps. What can Antoniadis do? He's got to dig deep. He's going to have to dig very deep to at least put Del Rey under pressure. Through turn number 9 goes Thierry Del Rey. And now through turn number 10. Down through the gears for turn 11. Antoniadis not closing in, but he is safe in second place. Pilimagi not threatening. Scholl there in 4th place, just at the top of the screen. Not threatening Pilimagi. Then a 7-second gap back to Miko Lane in 5th. This is the last lap, and Thierry Del Rey set to become possibly the first driver to win an X30 Super Shifter race in the IAME X30 Euro Series. Didn't run last year, it's running this year, and it's only going to grow. But Thierry Del Rey has got 3 corners left. Antoniadis pushing on, but it's not going to be enough. Thierry Del Rey comes into the final corner, goes up through the gears one last time, checkered flag out. Del Rey wins in Belgium for Belgium. Antoniadis takes 2nd place. For the Yandarms team, Sten Dorian Pilimagi comes home in 3rd place to complete the podium. There is the sporting thumbs up from Del Rey and Antoniadis. Konstantin Scholl finishes in 4th, and he will give his mentor thumbs up as well. Antoniadis, I wonder if Antoniadis spent a couple of laps behind Scholl where he could have overtaken him, but he needed to stay behind Scholl because he is his mentor, and his job mainly is to teach the young Austrian. He'll be able to give the Austrian feedback on where he was doing wrong. If Antoniadis had thought purely about himself and passed